Hi, welcome back. This is part 2 of day 8 of Advent of Code using PHP spec using for test-driven development. So part 1 we figured out what's the difference between the length of encoded characters and the length of the actual characters they represent. Part 2 says let's go the other way. So instead we're going to take this input file and we're going to encode each code representation as a new string to find out what it takes to store that string as though it were code. So we've got a couple of examples here. So we've got our double quote, our beginning empty string. That's going to encode to quote, backslash quote, backslash quote, quote, which means that it increased from 2 characters to 6. The string ABC goes to each of our quotes gets encoded, and so on. So, here's the examples. You can read them, and then we need to find the total number of characters represented in the encoded string minus the characters of code in each original string literal. So, for our first one, we've got 6 characters in our encoded string minus the original code representation, which was 2. So we've got a slightly different problem here, but it should be fairly straightforward, and this shouldn't be a terribly long video. So let's get started. So back in the code, we have we need to make some new updates on our spec, right? And in order to do this, we'll make a new function, just like we always do. And we'll say it can encode our strings, right? So it can encode blank string. So we'll do this be constructed with blank string, this get encoded count should be 6. Alright, that should give us a new function. There we go. Get encoded count, and we'll go back up to char count, and our encoded count, in order to encode that, we're going to get our string again. So we'll do string equals this string, and then we want to replace the quotes that are in the string with escaped quotes. So we're going to do string stir replace. So in case you're wondering why I'm not doing everything with regular expressions, regular expressions do come with a cost, right? We could do a lot of really amazing things with regular expressions, but they're not going to be as fast as a just normal string replace, right? Or if you know exactly what the string is that you need to find, finding it with preg match is not as fast as finding it with something like stir pause. Anyway, enough of that. So we're going to take our quotes and tell it it's like that, a single quote, and we're going to replace it with an escaped quote. If I can get it typing proper. We'll do that on string, and we're going to return the strlen of string. Let's see if that works. Nope. Undefined property. Somewhere I went and got something that I didn't want. There we go. Alright, so we've got now a blank string can be encoded properly, but we need to do more than that. So we put in our next example, it can encode, let's see, normal strings. So we'll do ABC to that, so we want 9. Normal strings. This be constructed with ABC this get encoded count should be 9. Let's run it. Okay, we got 12. Is that right? Nope, it's not. Put everything in properly. Alright. So we've now got our quotes are going in, and we also need to, what else do we need to do? ABC goes to ABC with 2 sets of escaped characters. Huh. Not dot equal, just plain equal. Alright. So did not quite do the first part correctly either, because I didn't mean to just concatenate that on there. So we've got 2 broken tests now. We need to go back and figure out what's happening. This might be a good time to look at a debugger, it might not. Let's go ahead and take a look at it though. So we'll put in debugging point, nope, not refactor. Alright, so we've got our string of blank, and we want to stir replace it with our quotes should turn into backslash quotes. So that's pretty hard for me to see. Let's see if I can make it any bigger. So we have, oh, you know what? I know what the problem is. So we've enclosed it, we've encoded it, right? We put in a replacement, but what we're missing is the quotes around the outside. So let's put those on, and we're going to need those, I think, everywhere. So we're going to do string equals quote, just one, plus the string, plus another quote on the end. So now it's still all encoded and happy. And let's run our test. Let's shut off the debugger. Alright, and that made both of them pass. So that was my problem. I got a false sense of passing the first time because I'd accidentally put in a concatenation here. But we found that problem with the second one, and now we've solved that problem for everybody. Let's go with our next example. So our next example, we are going to start with this quote that's embedded. It can encode strings with embedded quotes. Be constructed with, paste that in, and this get encoded count should be 16. Let's see if it works. Nope. We almost got there, but we didn't, I suspect. So I suspect what's happened is we've dealt with our quotes, but we haven't dealt with our backslashes. So let's do another replace here. This time I think the order probably is going to matter. So we want to first escape our backslashes. So we'll do stir replace, and we want to replace 1 backslash, but we have to encode it, and we want to replace it with 2 backslashes, and again we have to encode it, which means we get to quadruple those backslashes, but it's not going to quadruple them, it'll just double them up. Let's see what happens. There we go, that example is working. Alright, next example, we have our hex string. So our hex string is going to come in like this. Go back to our spec. It can encode strings with hex. This one might just work. Let's see. Be constructed with, pass that in, and this get encoded count should be 11. Let's see if it just works. It does. Awesome. All right, so now we need another puzzle. So we'll make it PHP spec describe day 8 puzzle 2. All right, and we'll run, create that class for us. And let's go ahead and copy that out because we're gonna borrow almost all the code from puzzle 1. Copy this out. Paste it in. Alright, so now instead of code count, we're going to have encoded count. And that's going to be a call to get encoded count. And our char count is going to be code count, so we'll rename that one code count. And the function we want to call is get code count. Alright, so if I haven't messed everything up, then on the small file we should get, it looks like 19. So let's try that out just to make sure. Small day 8 puzzle 2 19 19. Alright, and let's put it back to how it was, input. Alright, so 2046, and I was expecting 2046. So we've done both parts of that puzzle through test-driven development. There was a couple of hiccups along the way, but that's okay. Shows kind of I think some of the power that you get with having a bunch of tests. We were able to see immediately when certain things broke. We were able to see that in the second case, one of our tests passed even though it shouldn't have due to a typo, but we found that on the second one. And it also kind of shows that having a debugger around is super duper helpful. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and hope you're having a good Christmas break or vacation or whatever. But if not, I hope you enjoyed the video anyway, regardless, and we'll see you next time for day number 9. Thanks for watching.